Hello, everyone, and welcome to Varsity Aces Live. I'm sports writer Greg Mattura for NorthJersey.com and The Record. Well, I've been waiting almost a year for this. We've got the start of the New Jersey basketball season. Basketball. Just came back from covering my first game, and I'm bringing in a couple of guests, two coaches and a player, to talk about the experience of playing in their first game yesterday and today. So let's start. Our first guest, Ramsey boys basketball coach Kevin McGuire. Kevin, how are you?
I'm doing great, Greg. How are you doing?
I'm amped up after covering a game a few minutes ago. And then Kevin was kind enough to bring along one of his players. We have Grant Holbrook. Grant, how are you this evening?
I'm great. I just got home from practice, had a nice shower, and had some dinner, so I'm feeling good.
I'm jealous about the practice part. And then lastly, Rob Carsis. I just saw him about 2 minutes ago. I covered his game. Wayne Hills boys basketball coach. They just beat a crosstown rival, Wayne Valley, rushed back, wrote the story, and here I am. Both of our masks are off now so we can see each other. Please say hello to Rob Carsis. Rob, how are you?
Hey, thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
All right, let's get right to it because I'm loving basketball. Kevin, you had your season opener last night. 56-40 to win over Tenafly. Please talk about the experience of being back in the gym after such a long layoff.
Well, I don't know if we have enough time to talk about the whole experience because it's very different. Of course, the most important thing is it's fantastic to be back in the gym. It feels like it's been forever with no summer ball, no camp, none of that stuff. And then to have, our start date pushed back a couple times and, just it feels like every day there's joy, but there's also this worry that follows you around, a text, an email, a phone call that you're going to be shut down. The team you're playing is going to be shut down. So it's really, when we're in the gym, it's actually the moment that for me, that I get to not think about all that stuff. I just get to think about what we're trying to accomplish in practice. And then playing a game last night was surreal with no one in the gymnasium with us other than the players and the coaches and the officials. But what a pleasure it was to see kids from two different schools be able to compete against each other. And really, when the game got going, I don't know how Rob feels about it, but it was just another game. I mean, I don't think I ever really noticed the crowd anyhow once the game starts. So it felt pretty normal at that point. But so grateful that we were able to do it. So grateful for Tenafly to schedule with us and come. I said at the start it was our third opponent that we scheduled for opening night. So. And I know Jeff and Tenafly lost their opponent, and that's how we hooked up.
Grant, same question to you from the player's perspective. A teenager, how does it feel after not playing a game since last March to finally be able to get back on the court?
Yeah, so it felt really good to finally get out there and be with my high school team and really wear the Ramsey name across my jersey. Warming up with the mask on and all that stuff and just being socially distanced definitely did feel a little weird. But once the game gets going, tip off and the coin flip now. But once it started going, the nerves kicked in and the excitement was back and I was ready to play. And it really started it felt normal, as Coach McGuire said, besides having people yelling and screaming. But I never really listened to that. I tried to tune it out every single time. So I was ready to go right from the tip and just wanted to get going. I was eager to play.
Rob, again, a 63-53 winner today over crosstown rival Wayne Valley. You had to wait an extra day because of the snow to play this game. How did finally getting back on the court feel for you?
Yeah, tremendous. Just like everything that they're saying, it's so true. When yesterday got canceled, we originally might not have played today, and I was through the roof. I said, guys, we're able to play and we're going to choose not to. So we can't do that. There's too many things going on here where we have to play. I know it's going to be back to back. But you know what? Let's say thank you to play back to back. we're not playing too many guys just because it's, they just like Coach said, there's no summer, there's no camp, there's no nothing. And, I played 2 guys today that didn't play a minute of varsity last year, and I only played 7. Now we got to come back tomorrow with tired legs and tired heads. Trying to run a couple things today where I called it out, and we've been running it for 9 days in practice, and it just didn't happen. And you're looking around, I'm like, guys, just run. And they all kind of look around like totally forgot, totally 100%, absolutely forgot the whole play. And I literally in 20 something years of coaching, that's never happened. I mean, you've run a play before and you've called it out, and they maybe had one guy messed it up, or one guy screwed it up, or one guy forgot. And, all right, come back, do it the next time. We could not run that one play all day, and it was almost comical. And all right, chalk it up to COVID. We're going to rename that play COVID, and then maybe we'll actually be able to run it tomorrow.
Well, I guess you brought up a good point there. I guess there's going to be a lot of coaching insanity as you guys look over the film, and the kids seem so rusty. Could you talk about a little bit, since I was at your game, the protocols? Again, what I found unusual was the kids stood 6 feet apart during the national anthem. Yeah. The seats on your bench were spread out as they were for Wayne Valley, 6 or more feet apart. Yep. And you stood away. If you take a look there, you stood away from your kids towards the edge of the court. Your kids are standing up there in the background. But talk about how that feels.
The big thing about sports, I mean, since you started playing at the age of 4, is the camaraderie. Everything is a team. Everything's about being together. And here they're saying you can't be together, but you still are, even though you're 6 feet apart. We were talking about how we're going to do the intros and the national anthem, and no one knew how to do it. So we actually got the idea yesterday because I was watching my son at Westwood. They did it the way they did it. So I was talking to Draws, the AD at Wayne Valley, before the game. And I said, listen, I don't know if you want to do it like this, but the way they did it was everyone was 6 feet apart, and, they walk through the line and the fake high fives, and they go through and they end up out on half court. So each team is all spread out on half court, and then the national anthem plays and they come back, and it was normal, but it was a different normal. But like Coach said, once the game got started, I personally had no idea that there was no fans there. There was nothing at all different about the game, except when I really had to get the attention of someone. I might have had to pull down the mask a little bit, but put it right back up, real quick.
You didn't notice that I was the only person sitting on the other side when the game started?
In the game, it was very weird looking over. But truthfully, the thing I noticed at the end was when our freshman walked in from the other gym. And I'm like, oh, wow, look, there's 12 more people here. How about that?
I didn't feel so lonely. Kevin, over to you. What were some of the protocols that had to be followed for your game last night?
Well, just like Coach was saying, especially I think for this first game, you have all these protocols, but then you have to be conscious enough to follow them. So, it was probably 10 minutes before game time when my AD Kevin Sabella said, geez, you think we should do national anthem and introductions? And at that point I'm like, I don't know. I mean, there's not going to be anybody there, but we're live streaming it, so there's probably going to be some people that would like to see the introductions and hear the national anthem before we play. So we ended up doing that, and we had to space out. We looked at, I know on our end of the court, my assistant coach Mark Christensen and I looked down and we're like, guys, spread out, because they were going to put their arms around one another, and I think that's a little different for the team. I mean, we're together every day right now, and so maybe there's some leeway there. I don't know, but we spread everybody out. But do we fist bump the other coach? Do we fist bump the officials? No, you can't do that. So it's strange wiping down the basketball, having the 2 basketballs ready to go, wiping down the basketball that comes out of play and putting in the clean basketball. Having having to the players having to get the ball themselves, and it didn't happen, I don't think, last night as much, but certainly in our scrimmage last week, kids throwing the ball to the official to get it back for the inbound play, and the officials, kind of like, no, don't throw that to me. So it's a little strange. I think it'll take a game or two, and it'll be the new normal. And hopefully, look, from the start, I told my guys that I just want to get 15 games in for Grant and the 6 other seniors on my team, and have them be able to have the memories that last a lifetime from senior year of whatever sport you're playing. And so if we've got to follow protocols that are strange and foreign, then let's do it.
Now, Grant, though, Ramsey was one of the few teams last season that was still alive when the NJSIAA shut down the season due to COVID-19. So you guys did not have an opportunity to vie for a state title. You were right there. Did you carry any of that with you during the off season? Did you carry any of that with you into this season opener? Can you talk about that, please?
Yeah, so we were in school. It was a Wednesday. The game was set for Thursday to play Hackettstown, and we found out. We went into Coach McGuire's office. We all found out. We kind of, all gathered up, celebrated, our big win against P Hills one last time with the seniors, knowing that, it was over and I won't be able to see any of those guys again to be able to play on a court with them. So then we went on, and then during the summer, I had the blessing to be able to play AAU outdoors pretty much all summer long. We didn't have any COVID problems during that time. And then bringing into this offseason, being named captain, as long as with my teammate Tommy Gaffney and Ryan Ducey, we really took it upon ourselves to, get everyone outdoors playing together, trying to build that chemistry, having a bunch of new guys out there. And we just wanted to come into this first game of the season and really bring, showing that people probably think, Ramsey's going to be down or, losing 7 seniors, but we wanted to make sure that we didn't lose a single step in our game. We were ready to go from day one, that everyone was bought in with the COVID protocols and the new game plan, losing such a big piece of the last year's team. We wanted to come in this year and make a statement that Ramsey's basketball isn't over yet, and we're ready to go for this year. No matter how many games we have, the main goal is to get the win.
And Grant, I'd like to follow up with you. What was it like when playing in a gymnasium where there are no fans? And then what is it like when you go home to your family? Are they asking you all about the game, or did they at least get to watch it, online a little bit? What was that like? Yeah,
so playing in an empty gym was definitely a little weird. It was a little quieter. Ramsey's always had a great student section, so it's always been loud and rowdy every single year. But the second the ball goes to Tenafly because of the tip-off, we were ready to go. Everyone was locked in. We were making as much noise as we possibly can. Our bench was very loud and very into the game, and we were just ready to go from the get-go. And we just wanted to get the victory, and that was basically it. We were locked in, not really focused on anything else.
Okay. Rob, over to you again because I was at your game. How many minutes do you think it took your kids to get adjusted to the fact that this was their first, high school game, and we're already towards the end of January?
You could probably tell me that better because you saw us miss our first 12 shots. It was a little different. It took a little while. But we did finally settle in. We're coming. We really only have 2 starters back. A couple kids did play a little bit last year. A couple kids came on at the end. They did what we were lucky to have them play in a bunch of tournaments in December, and then even 2 right in January, right beforehand. They played together a little bit, but again, once you kind of come in and you get a little bit of coaching, it's just a little bit different than what you might have done all those 6 weeks. And growing up in Wayne, these kids have been coming to Hills Valley games all their lives, and they've been coming there and they've been seeing both sides of the gym at Wayne Valley Open, where, usually it's only the one side. It's packed. There's literally 2,000 people there. So you see you're at Wayne Valley opening night at 7:00. They're thinking one thing, and then here it's totally different.
I would have won the 50-50 hands down. It wouldn't have been that much, I don't think.
I think you would have won your money back. Right?
When no one scored in the first couple of minutes, I got a little sick feeling in my stomach thinking, oh my goodness, please don't be 0-0 after the first quarter. I don't want to have to tweet that out. But,
I'm very glad you didn't have to.
Yeah, but then kids started to warm up, and your kids did square up pretty well along the 3-point line. They did square up well. Kevin, over to you. How many minutes do you think it took your kids to kind of warm up to the fact that it's their first game and it's late January?
Well, we went out there, the coin toss, we were on defense first, and our starting center, Mike Featherstone, he was pretty jacked up, and Coach Christensen and I were like, listen, Mike, you only get 5 fouls tonight, right? It's not a scrimmage, it's not practice. And he's like, no, Coach, I know I got this. And he ended up basically trucking a kid. He ran him over out by the S and the Rams near half court, and picked up his first foul. And I was like, oh, geez, okay, maybe he'll settle down, because that was pretty ridiculous. And then we go down on offense, and he basically sends a forearm shiver into somebody underneath and puts him in the wall, and boom, he's out. It was like the first 2 possessions of the game, and he's sitting down for the whole first half. So, it took him longer than some of the other guys because he was out. But the first quarter was 8-4 Tenafly. And just to give you an idea, and then the second quarter was 23-14 us, I think. So, both teams, it took a little while to get going, and certainly, once everybody did get going, it was great. I mean, it was so much fun. I mean, I know how much the kids miss it. I don't know, since I seem like I'm angry all the time, I don't know if they know how much I miss it, but it was a blessing to be out there and watching 2 teams go at it. I can't wait to do it again tomorrow.
Now, we've heard a couple of people use the word coin toss while we're talking boys basketball, so it is a little disorienting to me, but that's just one of several changes that we're undergoing because of the pandemic. There is no jump ball to start the game. One team simply takes the ball out after a coin toss. Also in New Jersey, we have a 15-game season, down to 15 maximum game season. It's only a 6-week season. And up in North Jersey, we've had some realignment in the Big North Conference and in the North Jersey Interscholastic Conference. So I'd like to take a moment to show a little video or a little view of what the divisions look like in the Big North Conference and in the NJIC. Can we hit the button on that? The pandemic has altered the New Jersey high school basketball season, so I just want to go over a couple of key dates in the state and then take a look up north and see the changes that have been made in the Big North Conference and the North Jersey Interscholastic Conference. So up top here, the preseason will start Monday, January 11th. That's about a 7-week delay. Usually the preseason opens the Monday before Thanksgiving. The season opens Tuesday, January 26th. Again, that's a long delay. The season traditionally opens the 3rd Friday in December. The season will come to an end on Saturday, March 6th. That's only about a 6-week season. Traditionally, the season runs more than 13 weeks, culminating with the Tournament of Champions final. Because there's only a 6-week season, teams are only allowed to play a maximum of 15 games. And then lastly, it's a disappointment. There will be no state tournament. That's tough, especially on teams that had championship aspirations. Let's take a look at the alignment in the North Jersey Interscholastic Conference. The NJIC has been changed from 4 divisions to 6 divisions to accommodate the 15-game maximum schedule. Teams will play each other twice in the division for a 10-game schedule. And then if you have any games left over, you can go out and schedule independent games. Now let's take a look at the large school Big North Conference. Again, there's about 30-something schools in that conference as well. The Big North has expanded out from 6 divisions to 7 divisions to accommodate a 12-game schedule. You play everyone in your division twice, and if that doesn't add up to 12 games, you play crossover games against teams from the other divisions. Again, if you have any games left over before the season ends March 6th, you can schedule independent games. All right, let's take a look at the girls' side now, which is pretty much the same, except with the girls, obviously, you subtract Bergen Catholic, Joe's, and Don Bosco, and you bring in the United Division, Immaculate Heart Academy, and Holy Angels. All right, so we're back. Kevin, I have to ask you, you're one of the schools that is impacted by the realignment within the Big North Conference. Can you offer a thought on that for a second?
Well, I can offer a few thoughts. Number one, I'm really happy that we don't have to go to Cliffside Park. We don't have to go to Fort Lee. We don't have, I mean, those are our longest trips, and usually with the most traffic and, the most anxiety on the bus, like, are we going to get there on time kind of thing. So we don't have to do that, but it's really not a big deal. This was our division a few years ago. With Mawa, Westwood, P Hills, and Riverdale in there, and us. And then it changed maybe even a couple times, before now we're back to that alignment again. So and we played Riverdale. We played Riverdale every year, even when they left our division. And we're playing an independent with Dumont. We've got crossovers with Dwight Morrow, who we haven't seen in a couple years, other than we played him in a holiday tournament last year. But we've got Dwight Morrow coming and Ridgefield Park. So it's not a huge change.
And to Rob, over to you. How difficult has it been to fill out a rather odd, maximum 15-game schedule this season?
The first, I want to address the fact that Coach McGuire gets to talk to his assistant. That's great. My JV is in a pod by themselves. My freshman is in a pod by themselves. So I'm by myself with my 11 kids. So the fact that he actually gets to talk to one of his coaches, I'm jealous just about that. That's great. Now, addressing the schedule, we were scheduled 12 games, and, we had a couple open dates early. And what I did, just seeing what happened in football, I said, what, things are going to fall into our laps. Honestly, I really didn't even try to go out. And then right now, all of a sudden, we lose a couple people, and we have 3 games this week. PV Passaic Valley is out, so we picked up Paramus, and we're playing Passaic Tech on Saturday. So, in our first 5 games, we have 4 out-of-conference games. So, theoretically, I only have 1 left. But what are you going to do? Like Coach said before, you're hanging by a thread every single day. All you need is someone's mom to get it, and then they call in and you're out. So my thing, just like he said before, your goal is to get 15 in. That's it. If we, not that I want to play Bergen, Bosco, and Joe's back to back, but whoever it is, okay, Paramus was available, we got them. PCT was available, we got them. And my first 5 games, 4 of them are away. Okay, it is what it is. So, there is no, like in other years, you'd kind of be looking at it like how my PowerPoint's going, give me some home games. What can I do here? This year, it's who's available. Okay, let's go. You're still in? All right. We got 2 teams that are in. Let's go get them.
Grant, again, you're a player. You go out, you love the game. The adults are going to tell you what to do. They're going to tell you who you're playing. How do you view this season, this 6-week season where you can play a maximum of 15 games? What are you hoping to accomplish as a team during this shortened season?
Definitely, just to be able to stay healthy, get the 15 games. I know me and my fellow seniors want to just get as many games as we can if possible. It doesn't matter who we play. I'll go play whoever. If we got to go down to Cape May or Point Pleasant, it doesn't matter to me. I'll make a trip. And basically just making sure we can play Mawa and Pascack Hills. I know those two games mean the most to me. I've been battling Mawa and P Hills since I moved here in 5th grade, and playing those two teams will mean a lot to me. And I know Ramsey, those rivals have been something for an eternity. So I'm just preparing, and hopefully we'll be able to get those games in. Those are my two big ones on my schedule for sure.
And what's going through your mind knowing that there is, again, when I wrote on the chalkboard, no state tournament, that was depressing. My handwriting was especially bad on that if you go back and look at the video. But, how does it feel knowing that there's not going to be a state tournament run like there was last year?
It definitely makes the league season more personal, because you got to go out there. Like last year, we split with P Hills, and then we had the split in the sectional final that really decides who overall was the better team. So going out there knowing that you got to go win 2 games against those big time schools in our league, instead of like, oh, maybe we'll see them in the state tournament, it just makes those league games more of a priority, and just winning every single game, because that's all that matters. You only get 15 games to be able to win, instead of like, oh, we can get revenge in the state tournament or whatever. And, I've won a state sectional last year, so I know how it feels, but I feel bad because the rest of my team this year, we definitely could have done it again. I have a feeling that we would have been able to go back for sure. No questions asked.
Might I add, if you do have a very good season, I eat the shoe on that, which is, but I've eaten the shoe quite a few times over my career. Kevin and Rob, last question to each of you, and that is from the coach's perspective, what can you hope will happen over these 6 weeks here after having played your first games? Kevin?
Well, number one, I just hope we stay healthy, for not just for basketball, but in general, right? So we talk about it every day at the start of practice. We talk about it every day at the end of practice, before the game, after the game. Be smart, stay together, keep your masks on. We practice with our masks on. I mean, the whole thing is, we know, just like Coach was talking about with regard to the schedule, we know we're going to lose games. The goal is, let's not have it be because of us, because then we at least have a shot to go find somebody else to play and get those 15 games in. And, it's a challenge. I think the kids feel a lot of pressure with it too. And, if it happens, it happens. And I know we're taking it really seriously and trying to be really careful. But just to get those games in, yeah, it's a disappointment not to have something to play for, in a tournament setting. But that doesn't compare at all to the gift of being able to go out and compete for all these guys, and for us too. I've been around the game long enough that I can live without a couple more chances to compete, I guess. But for these kids, it's critical. So we just want to play. Just like Coach said, just like I said earlier, our attention is getting 15 games in. That's our full focus.
Okay.
And winning 15, of course. But
yeah, that would be nice. Like I would like to cover a certain number of games this year. Again, I got the first one in. I was actually a little anxious driving to Wayne Valley this afternoon for your game, Rob. I actually, your thoughts on what you would like to accomplish here over these next 6 weeks.
It really sums up in one word: is joy. Like, it's so enjoyable. You don't realize how much you miss it until we got back in the gym. Like that first day back, I had no idea what to expect. I cut the practice short because I thought they were tired. I was an idiot. We probably could have gone for the extra hour. But just seeing today, my son was watching the live stream, and he goes, "Dad, did you tell the kids on the bench to stand the whole time?" I go, "No, I told them to stand for the first possession." And they stood the whole time. The joy looking at the kids, you take it for granted, every other year. And this year, just what they went through, what us as coaches have gone through. I teach every day, and I'm on live stream, and it's just different. And like, to be with kids and to give them this outlet, it's a gift. It really is. It's a gift. And I'm a 50-year-old man almost crying with the music cranked up basically as loud as it could go on the way home today, go, man, if I get pulled over, the cop's going to look at me like I'm crazy. But it's just, it really is just what we've gone through and then where we're at. Like, give me 15. Let's go. Today was tremendous. And if we lose tomorrow, it's going to be awful. But hey, we'll be back in the gym on Friday, hopefully. It's just different this year. As much as it's not, it is. So you're busting their butt trying to get them to go, but just the joy, you don't take it for granted this year. I think that was the biggest thing that I saw, on their faces and everything was like, wow, we're lucky to be here.
All right. Well, that about wraps it up on our first issue of talking about basketball, which I love. Everyone knows that. I'd like to thank my guests once again. We have Rob Karsich, coach of Wayne Hills. We have Kevin McGuire, coach of Ramsey. And then we have Grant Holbrook, senior forward center for Ramsey. I'd like to thank all of you for being the guests on Varsity Aces Live. I'd like to thank all of you for watching this. I'm glad that I made it back in time from the game to actually host this show with no preparation. So I'll look at the videotape and I'll have Rob and Kevin make a couple notes on where I screwed up. I probably ran a couple of plays wrong, Rob, during the show, but
you did great. I'm grading you out as a 99.
I had a question for you, Greg. Who helps you out with that top 25 list and the other teams to consider?
That's why I said I've often eaten the shoe.
I just wanted to be sure that's what you're talking about.
You didn't talk up your team on the preview sheet, though. So I a lot of guys like to lay low and then make me eat the shoe. It happens quite often. So with you guys, that could be the case.
I hope so.
They're going to go from unranked to number 4 in 1 week. I love it.
Again, I'd like to thank everyone in the New Jersey basketball community. Congratulations. We're back. New Jersey, be strong, stay safe, take care of yourselves, and hopefully we'll be back on talking a lot about the basketball season this year over the next several weeks. For Varsity Aces Live, I'm sports writer Greg Mattura. Happy to be back for NorthJersey.com and The Record.